Joining me now, Rasha Mubarak with CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations. Rasha, good of you to join us this morning. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I would imagine the first question a lot of people have when things like this happen is why, and how is it possible that the bomber, his brothers, they were born in Britain. How do people get drawn into the radical side of Islam?
First and foremost, my deepest condolences to the families in Manchester. My heart instantly grew overwhelmingly so heavy, considering that it was children involved, children targeted. I have family members who have share the identical musical genre, love Ariana Grande. So unfortunately, time and time again, we see that the youth are falling victim senseless acts of violence across the globe. And just days away into our one-year anniversary of the Pulse shooting, it hits home for us here in Orlando.
Sure.
So I think the question has to be reframed, because we have to remember that radicalization exists in all communities. Radicalization has no face, it has no religion. So what draws people to shoot up the Pulse nightclub? What draws people to bomb a concert filled with children? But also, what draws people to, like Dylan Roof, to shoot up a historically black church? These are all questions that we have to understand. While they might not share the same grievances or internal factors, we do come to the conclusion a lot of times that they have familiarities, whether that be a question of isolation or not feeling a sense of community. I think with Dylan Roof, they said that he was radicalized. We just seen recently with the young African-American man in Maryland University who was stabbed to death by an alt-right white supremacists. So these are all, I think, questions that if we had the answers to, we wouldn't be sitting here. We don't have these answers to these questions of why the radicalization and extremism exists in all of these communities.
Do you reject the notion then that the radicalization, radical Islam, that is what we're seeing more and more of? You're saying that the other instances are equal?
I think that when we see someone that identifies with the Islamic faith, it's named as terrorism, whereas we see these other acts of terror, it's identified as a lone wolf. So these are all acts of terrorism. These are all people's lives that so this is something that we're seeing in all communities. Islam is not immune to people becoming extreme or radicalized. We just seen that there was several people that were arrested here in the state of Florida because they wanted to start what they called a race war. So these are people that are becoming white supremacists, that are becoming radicalized extremists that we're seeing all across the world.
Russia, let me ask you the question that I'm sure you've gotten 1,000 times. The mantra we hear, Islam is a religion of peace. It does not condone violence, correct? People can cherry pick things out of the Bible that they find distasteful. People do point to things in the Quran that they say indicates that the Quran advocates violence against Christians. Do you disagree with that, or would you argue that, again, as in they do with the Bible, they are cherry picking things out of context?
I think that just like the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, there's a lot of misinterpretation, but absolutely not does the Quran allow any kind of violence against any kind of individual, not even any creation of the Creator, of God. So I think, like we've seen here in Orlando, a lot of the Muslims in Manchester were on the forefront of being the first respondents. So they were people that were driving, taxi drivers that were driving family members to try to find their loved ones. They were the doctors caring to some of the victims. So absolutely not. That's what Islam is about being there for the community and making sure that we're there for anybody regardless of their faith or background.
Rasha Mubarak, we appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. Not an easy thing to talk about, and we very much appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.